you all for being here. And I'd like to welcome those of you here today whose families have been in this area since 1900 and before. I also like to welcome those of us who have been in this area less time and are just visiting Terre Haute today.
I'd like to welcome here everyone under the age of 10. I'd like to welcome those of you in your teens, those of you in your 20s or your 30s. I'd like to welcome all of you in your 40s, in your 50s. I'd like to welcome those of you here in your 60s.
An organization that is seeking to help communities look at difficult histories and acknowledge them, and to challenge and confront the silence that has existed around those histories. Very often when we are thinking about the history and the legacy of racial terrorism in America, which existed for over 7 decades, we are not just talking about a time period historically that is past, but we are talking about a time period that has left a legacy that we have all inherited today.
George Ward was an African American resident of Terre Haute. He was a father, he was a husband, and a victim of a brutal lynching on February 26, 1901. Shortly after being accused of the murder of Ida Finkelstein, a white mob violently removed him from the county jail. That wall right there, the gray wall that you see on the jail right here, the old jail, which you can see from this site just northeast of where we are standing. George Ward was beaten and dragged to the Wabash River and hanged on a covered wagon bridge. A crowd of white men, women, and children, counted by some to be more than the number of 1,000, watched this gruesome spectacle on the banks of the Wabash River. George Ward's body was then cut down and it was burned. As the embers of the fire cooled, human scavengers carried away bits and pieces of his charred bones as souvenirs. George Ward was denied the due process for a crime of which he was accused, killed by a mob that acted as the judge, the jury, and the executioner. No one was ever held responsible for the lynching of George Ward.